I'm here with Sheldon LYTTON, an attorney for USA Continental Regional Center. Sheldon, can you tell me how important is an event like this IIUSA event?
This one is absolutely fantastic, right? The turnout, the number of people here, and the interest and the level of interest is amazing. This is double or triple what it was a year ago.
And you kind of referred to it to me earlier that the EB-5 program is kind of like the Wild West. Can you explain that a little bit for me?
Well, I use that phrase to say that it's been around for more than a decade, but it's always been on a very short fuse. Now, for the first time in the last several years, we've had longer extensions, and people have started to look to it as a source of capital. And as you know, capital is in short supply in the United States these days. And so what we've had is a tremendous, you see it here today, tremendous growth in the number of companies and entities offering regional centers. And all bets are off. It's all new stuff. It's all new regulations. The government's not quite sure how to regulate it. They're gearing up, trying to figure it out. It's interesting.
What are some of the major issues you think are facing the EB-5 program in the next few years?
I think probably the single most important issue is to convince the powers that be in Washington, the United States government, the Congress, and the administration that this is a program that's absolutely essential to economic development. We need capital in this country. We've exported $1 trillion more. Some say two to 4 trillion. We know China's holding $1 trillion in U.S. reserves. We exported that capital to China. We exported 2 to 4 million jobs. We need to get it back. And you know what? They're willing to give it back. They're willing to come back here and invest. We need to be able to take it. So to me, that's the number one issue, is to put this program on a firm footing, give us time to work it, and let the free enterprise system go to work.
But as we heard today at some of the keynote speakers, it's important that not only the investors, but the regional sales and everyone involved do their due diligence to make sure it's done right so the program stays healthy, correct?
Yes. One of the concerns when I say the Wild West, my reference was to the fact that we've had a number of episodes of regional centers that weren't exactly law-abiding. There were misrepresentations. There was a terrible scandal up in Victorville. There's another one in El Monte where the regional centers just didn't perform and the Chinese investors were injured or the Asian investors were injured. We can't allow that to continue. We have to control it. We have to have law and order. If you'll let me go back to the Wild West, law and order. And we have to have stability. You have to know if you invest in that, it's a solid, honest investment. It doesn't mean you're going to make money, but it certainly means you're entitled to fair treatment.
Well, a good example is one of the regional centers that you represent, USA Continental Regional Center, who just brought, I think, over 100 high-paying medical jobs to the city of Marietta through their new Continental Medical Center. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, obviously I'm very proud to be associated with, we call them USA CRC sometimes. They are in many ways the poster child for what EB-5 should be doing. They took 2 medical buildings that were basically in foreclosure. They acquired them, they've put them back into shape. They've brought in one of the largest medical imaging companies in the United States into Marietta. We're going to have the largest women's imaging center in the valley, 2 or 3 MRIs, 2 or 3 CAT scans. It's going to be a phenomenal center, and this is how you bring jobs. And of course, with them come 100 or more jobs, and they're good jobs. They're tech jobs. They're doctors, physicians, nurses, radiologists. It's a very, very exciting adventure. That's how EB-5 is supposed to work.
Now, EB-5 is really a broad-based program because from my understanding from an event I went to earlier this morning, it really affects not only real estate, but potentially manufacturers, bringing manufacturing jobs back to this region. What about that?
I believe, I think you put your finger on something, because I believe that's going to be the next big future push. We've exported millions of dollars or millions of manufacturing jobs to Asia and to the manufacturing floor in Asia. They're going to come back, and we need to bring them back and bring back manufacturing to this country. And I think what these guys are going to do in Marietta again, we'll be a poster child. You'll see.
What I get, the feeling I got from today's event is Washington really needs to start listening. They need to listen to the importance of the program, and I think start talking. Would you agree?
I couldn't agree more. And what's interesting to me is I've spoken to Republican congressmen, I've spoken to Democratic congressmen, and the level of enthusiasm is the same on both sides. The Republicans I speak to, of course, are saying jobs and the economy, and the Democrats, surprisingly, are saying jobs and the economy. So when you see that kind of consensus on an idea and a concept, you wonder why in the world isn't Congress getting that act together and stabilizing this and passing it? That's what we need. We need a 10-year renewal or a permanent renewal.